Week 10 of the fantasy football season. And then here's a few defense DST units. I have his sleepers this week. The first one, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers here, I have them ranked within my top 12 this week here at the defensive position. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out if you want more insight on defenses. So right now, the Steelers available in 84% of fantasy leagues here. The Saints give up the 8th most fantasy points to defenses on the season. And right here, Andy Dalton, he's been a hit-or-miss quarterback over the last few seasons. And now with Michael Thomas out for the season, obviously, and also this team not really playing great football on the offensive side of things this season here, with TJ Watt possibly coming back to the starting lineup this week here for the Steelers team. This could give them a big boost. They could get a few sacks in this ball game. And right here, I think, is a sleeper option available in a bunch of fantasy leagues. Like I mentioned, they're a decent sleeper where they could get anywhere from 8 to 10 fantasy points. Possibly this week, the next defense is the Arizona Cardinals. So right here, the Cardinals, their defense really hasn't been that good this season. But this week here, it could be different circumstances. If Matthew Stafford's going to miss this ball game with a concussion, where right now he's trying to get cleared in time for Sunday's ball game. So right here, the last few weeks, Arizona hasn't been horrible, but they also have given up a decent amount of points. Week 7 versus New Orleans, 34 points allowed, 3 interceptions, and 2 pick sixes. Week 8 at Minnesota, 34 points allowed, 3 sacks, a fumble recovery, and a block kick. And Week 9 versus Seattle in that one, 31 points allowed, 2 sacks, and a pick six. So right now, the pick six has really helped them out of being relevant in fantasy football, is this Arizona Cardinal team. But obviously, this Ram team not great on offense this year. They give up the second most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. And if Stafford's out, Wolford is going to be in for a long day, and this Cardinal team could be within the top 8 if Stafford's out of this ball game as a good option this week. So right now, available still in 70% of fantasy leagues. I got the Cardinals DST as a sleeper this week, and the third and final defense I have as a sleeper is the Chicago Bears. So the Bears, I know, traded Robert Quinn away at the trade deadline to the Eagles, and then Roquan Smith, the 2 best defensive guys, to the Baltimore Ravens. So right now, they're available in 94% of fantasy leagues is the Bears, and they're a 1-week sleeper option as well, with a great matchup versus the Detroit Lions coming to Soldier Field that give up the 3rd most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. So right now, the Lions on the road this season, they don't really get the job done. Jared Goff, I've mentioned this in other videos, his home road splits are night and day difference. And I think this Chicago Bear defense, even with trading a guy like Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith, could have a good ball game this week here. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if they could get anywhere from 7 to 10 fantasy points. So right here, they're available, like I said, in 94% of fantasy leagues. And that's a few defense DST units. I have sleepers here for week 10 of the fantasy football season.